Hey everybody, this is JDGaming back today with a deck profile of 𝕮𝖊𝖇𝖑 Spright. So basically, as soon as Sprights dropped in Master Duel, I had the chance to play them seriously for the first time, and I gotta say, I just completely fell in love with the deck. I already really liked 𝕮𝖊𝖇𝑛s, you guys know this from all my recent uploads on them. Spright basically gave them a breath of fresh air and took them to the next level. They're obviously a very competent meta threat right now in Master Duel and TCG, and some people don't like it because of that, but you guys know me, I don't play things just because they're meta, I play things because I feel that they are fun to do so as well. So hopefully you'll give these guys a chance if you were on the fence or didn't really like them because you saw them everywhere. I just absolutely love this theme, and even if we get inevitable hits to consistency and power in the Spright engine, I could see myself playing this deck for as long as it is viable in some capacity because I just really like this. That's enough of that. Hopefully you give it a chance. This is going to be a let's build as always. I'll explain my choices for the most part, at least enough to get you an idea of why I put things in here and the quantities I did, why I'm choosing to play certain things, but there is a bit more of an expectation that you've probably seen these things around before, so I don't want to hold your hand too much and waste your time with it. You can check out this video for an in-depth introduction to the Evil Twins if you've never seen them before. That would be a great starting point for that, and I'll talk about all the relevant concepts for sprites and stuff along the way. But without further ado, let's build 𝕮𝖊𝖇𝑛 Spright. The general order for this deck profile is going to be talking about the core, which will be comprised of 𝕮𝖊𝑇𝑛s and then Spright, and then we'll talk about some of the extra deck cards that I feel are a bit more integrated into this strategy as it's built. And then finally, some extra cards in the main deck that you can flesh out the deck with, but of course that's going to be the most flexible of any of these. So to begin, we're going to start off with our 𝕮𝖊𝑇𝑛 package, which is the main reason we're playing this build of the deck, with 3 copies of 𝕮𝖊𝑇𝑛 𝕮𝖊𝖓, as well as I like playing 3 copies of 𝗗𝗍𝗊𝗋. Basically, these are tour guides that summon each other out as long as you have no other monsters on the field. You're able to go and search these guys out as well using 𝕮𝖊𝑇𝑛 Sunny Snitch, which is a 10 key that will get you these guys out as well as have a fun little life steal effect. Basically, the twins are your level 2s that will bring out your sprites, and I like maxing out on this because I've tried 3 𝕮𝖊𝖓, 1 𝗗𝗍𝗊, and then 1 Frost, but I just didn't think that was enough. This can make it so you have to rely a bit too much on your extra deck to do some legwork in order to get these guys, and I think you sometimes lose the point of playing the twins in the first place. Like, if you cannot establish your extra deck twins, then you're not actually able to get the benefit of the grind game that you get from these that you've lost from Spright Elf. But you can always play different amounts if you'd like. That's just what I felt comfortable with. With that, I played just the 1 Frost, no Treat now, because unlike in a pure twin deck, you don't need any extenders beyond the sprites. They are your Frost and your Treats. So since Treat was way too specific with its Battle Trick effect, you don't play it. You play Frost instead because this thing gets you a free draw if your opponent does the very common action of adding a card from their deck to their hand, and it's just the easiest priority pick off of 𝕮𝖊𝖓. You summon your 𝕮𝖊𝖓, you summon your Frost, get a free draw on top of everything else, like your pop and draw that you're about to set up. So that's the first 10 cards of this deck is going to be just the 𝕮𝖊𝑇𝑛 cards. Then for the extra deck relating to the twins, we play 2 copies of 𝗗𝗍𝗊𝗋 and 𝕮𝖊𝖓. If you're not sure how these guys work, you can check out the in-depth introduction to this deck. Basically, they summon each other out from the grave and climb up in order to do draw and a pop every turn, usually starting off with a draw if you're going first and a pop if you're going second. You can also climb into Trouble Sunny with these guys as well. This, however, is not a level link or rank 2 monster. It's not a 2-axis card, which sprites can sometimes lock you into. And so we play 1 just because of the decreased emphasis on non-2-axis. If this thing gets sniped by a 𝗗𝗍𝗊𝗋 card, that's fine. Like, you still are able to play your advantage engine with these guys here. And that's the reason I play 2 of each of these cards. Otherwise, you're kind of sad. And even if you're not playing in a 𝗗𝗍𝗊𝗋 format, if you get your 1 𝕮𝖊𝖓 banished by like DD-Crow or something, you're still sad. So I just like playing 2 and 2. I tried playing with 1 and 2, but I just really liked 2 and 2. We play the 1 Sunny, even with none of the brick big twin monster in the main deck. You still have plenty of non-engine slots in this deck to play tech cards that can deal with whatever problems. You can always side the brick if you want, or you can main it if you really want. You could probably get away with it. I just chose not to, and I think it's still good enough because Trouble Sunny is just in here in case it comes up, and most of the time in this deck, you're not even summoning it. So next up, we have the sprites, and this is a bit different from my channel's usual thing, but I'm not going to hold your hand too much with the Spright cards because the chances are you already know what they do. If not, there's plenty of things out there that will teach you from the ground up, but I'll go through the basics of these cards and, you you'll be able to grasp it. Basically, these are extenders. All your level 2s let you summon these guys out, and if you special summon blue, you get to search Jet. If you special summon Jet, you get to search Starter, and then Starter lets you basically 𝗵𝗍𝗍 out any of your sprites as long as you lose life points equal to the monster's attack, and you lock yourself into 2 axes. So this and Gigantic Spright are going to be the cards that lock you out of your big Link 4 and stuff like that. Even if these cards get hit in the future, you're still going to be able to play this deck in some capacity, because going blue Jet Starter is as simple as having Gigantic in your extra deck, which I don't think they're going to hit on top of these things. For right now though, having 3 of each of these allows you to very consistently do it, again, without the extra deck being the way you do it. It just makes things more consistent, less fragile, and so I do like playing the maximum number of these. I know some people don't like playing 3 Starter in the twin build because they like playing Big Twin, they like playing some other cards that are like Link 4s or whatever. Then for these guys, similar extension, but they have other abilities, of course. Pixies is basically your replacement for your Treat, because it has a battle trick that's like Honest, and it's a little bit more proactive than Treat is. Plus, this is another Sprite name that you can just extend with from your hand. Carrot, Red do something very similar. They're able to tribute a level Link or rank 2 monster in order to negate either a monster or a spell or trap, and if it happens to be an extra deck monster, you can destroy that card. That synergizes very well with these guys, because now when you set up 𝕮𝗓𝗄𝗍𝗓, you go and tribute, usually the 𝗍𝗓, off of one of these things, negate, and then destroy that card, and now you've set it up so 𝗮𝗓𝗄 can bring back 𝗍𝗓, get a free pop on top of that. Or if you've already used 𝗍𝗓's pop that turn, you can just do the opposite, and then you get to draw a card. These guys just synergize very well. This is one of the main ways that you can use the twins in a way that you couldn't with just pure Sprite. They get extra synergies off of these cards. The reason I play 2 red is we don't have Elf to bring back red, and also, again, an additional name as an extension. Plus, monsters are a bit more common than spells and traps. Even in trap decks, they still play monsters. So, and then the last Sprite cards are basically smashers, because this is just a one of get rid of anything without targeting, which is solid, although it's a bit costly. The Gamma Burst, I like playing this in Twin Sprite specifically because you bring out so many monsters, a 1400 attack boost on everything. Gamma Burst doesn't seem so much like a win more card to me in this deck. This creates wins in situations where it could go to a grind game, and rather than risking losing to your opponent because they get a handle back into the game by playing through your removals, you're just going to end the game on turn 3. And then the last Sprite main deck card is Double Cross. This card is really fun because it integrates some of the aspects of Elf that we lost. You're basically able to either steal a monster, revive a monster. If you have a Link or rank 2 monster, very powerful. Especially in this deck, you're planning on having Link zones open at all times, so you'll be able to go ahead and use any of Double Cross's effects. Obviously, it's a bit risky as a trap card in that it is a bit slower, but I feel as long as the main Sprite engine is untouched, you're able to safely play Double Cross. For our Sprite extra deck, we're just playing the 1 Sprint. Don't forget, in addition to Foolish Burialing your twins or something, you're able to go and have this as disruption. 2 Gigantic Sprite. If you needed to, you could just go any 2 monsters for Sprint, send a 𝗍𝗓, then go Gigantic off of 1 extension. You could even just go Sprite plus this into this, and then you can get rid of one of your monsters as material in order to summon your 𝗮𝗓𝗄𝗓 from your deck. Wow, you have both set up right from your deck without needing to do anything else. And so that's really cool. I feel like for twins specifically, Sprint is okay though. Like, you don't really need it as much as you would think. It is able to get you full combo out of nothing in theory, but that's just too fragile, I think. It's worth playing so you have access to it, but if they steal this for their 𝗮𝗓𝗄𝗓, I'm not too sad or anything. Gigantic Sprite in order to bring out whatever piece you're missing, or just blue is the most common thing you really do. You just want to draw your twins and you just summon blue out directly from your deck. So that's also the reason why we play the 9 twins. Everything else is just gonna be extension, icing on the cake for safety. Now we're gonna finish off the extra deck real quick here with some cards that I feel are a bit more integral to the theme. First, we play 1 copy of Muckraker from the Underworld, which is basically going to extend the longevity of your twin strategy. IP Masquerena is a lot more powerful in this strategy than in pure twins, because all the things that I mentioned in the in-depth introduction about playing Unchained Abomination or even Nightmare Griffin, you can do in Sprite extremely easily. If you have your twins pointing into your middle zone, you summon Griffin into that middle zone. Now it can't be destroyed by card effects and your opponent's locked out of effects of special summon monsters that are not linked, and you are not giving them any arrows, or you do the Unchained Abomination thing, because this card basically is the ultimate creature of destruction. You pop cards anytime cards are popped, or if he kills something in battle or some other guy does so. 𝕮𝖊𝖓, get a pop, get another pop, end phase, get a third pop, and you're able to do that very consistently in this deck thanks to these two cards together, with the sprites serving as the extensions that you would have otherwise needed in something like a Parallel Exceed or Backup Secretary. All the same concepts, but they're way more consistent here in Sprights without having to play some weird extenders. You just play those instead. And then the Zeus package has just been slightly upgraded into these guys. I'm just playing the one Zeus personally because I didn't bother getting a second one just for this format. If they take it, they take it. It's sad, but whatever. Shadow Mosquito I think is still worth playing, whereas you may not be willing to play Centaria. So like if Zeus got taken and you had Centaria, you probably wouldn't summon the Centaria. It's as simple as that. But with Shadow Mosquito, you get an extra way of OTKing your opponent. If they have a big enough monster, you basically get to use this effect in order to, when you battle, detach a material, put a hallucination counter, keep attacking with your guys and burn them, or force your opponent to attack and then burn them. In the event that this thing ends up getting effect failured or something, well, your Centario is not going to be any better anyway. You're never using Centaria's effect, you're just going straight into Zeus. This thing is both the ultimate Zeus line as well as its own standalone great card to play. Finally, we're going to talk about just the tech cards that I've decided to play right now. This is something that's obviously the most malleable part of the deck, and one of the strengths of Sprights is going to be you get to play whatever tech slots you'd like because the deck is so compact. That's also why we were able to play so many of our twins in the first place. So make sure you change this part to whatever you need for whatever format, whatever environment you're playing. But I like playing 3 copies of Imperm because it's just very, very flexible of a card. Similarly, I like playing 3 copies of Ash. And then right now I'm playing 2 copies of Book of Moon just because this card's insane going first and pretty decent going second. You could dodge skill drain and stuff like that. Enemy Controller is specifically in here because, like with Forbidden Droplet before, you're able to get rid of your twin. So you normal a twin, tribute it off, steal your opponent's monster, and still summon your other twin. I guess with the new Syac format and Purely and stuff, it's not as powerful because you can't hit the Purely guys. It's a little costly to go into a board of negates, but I think it's still decent. And then we play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Basically a lot of 2-ofs in this deck because I'm trying to get as much coverage as possible. 2 copies of 𝗮𝗄𝐴 for similar thing. You can play Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. That's actually a phenomenal card in the extra deck. I didn't have room in this specific build. This is just something that you can out annoying monsters with because 𝗮𝗄𝐴 is targetable. You could just pop it with your 𝕮𝖊𝖓. And with that, we're ready to look at the entire deck now that it's completely built. We're starting off with 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, then 2 copies of 𝗮𝗄𝐴, 3 copies of the regular Live Twin 𝗗𝗓𝗃, 1 copy of Frost, 3 copies of Live Twin 𝕮𝖊𝖓, no treat. Then we're playing 3 copies of Spright Blue, 1 Carrot, 3 copies of Spright Jet, 1 copy of Pixies, 2 copies of Spright Red. Then for spells, we have 3 copies of Live Twin Sunny Snitch. Then we got 2 copies of Book of Moon, 2 Enemy Controller, 1 Spright Gamma Burst, 1 Smashers, and 3 copies of Starter. Then we have 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. And then for our trap cards, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, and then just the 1 copy of Spright Double Cross, and that is a 40 card main deck. For our extra deck, we have 2 copies each of our Evil Twin 𝗗𝗓𝗃, as well as our Evil Twin 𝕮𝖊𝖓. Then we play IP Masquerena, Muckraker from the Underworld, and Spright Sprind as our Link 2s. We don't play any Link 3s in this build, but you could play Unicorn or something. We're playing 1 Trouble Sunny, 1 Nightmare Griffin, 1 Unchained Abomination, and that's it for our Link monsters. And then for our Xyz monsters, we're playing 2 copies of Gigantic Spright, 1 number 2 Ninja Shadow Mosquito, and then we're playing Downward Magician and Zeus with that as well for a 15 card extra. And with that, we've successfully built Live Twin Spright. Be sure to let me know what you think about the deck down below. Thanks guys, this is JDGaming, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.